Okay, so all my material is ripped to the right width. And the next step now is to cross-cut all the pieces to the proper dimension. I had to remove this stop when I was using the parallel guides because the top of the parallel guide was hitting on the top of the knob. So I just took it off. And I want to make sure that my fence is now square to my rail. And there's a lot of questions out there on the fog and on the internet just in terms of people having trouble getting a square cut on their MFT3. So I just want to show you how I actually get things for square. Once I put the protractor head on and tighten it down, the last thing I do is adjust this stop. So I'll get the fence, or get the rail aligned. There's two Allen keys on the bottom of the rail, and the reason why you want to make sure those are adjusted is that you should just be able to set it down, and this tab should fit right in that groove. You shouldn't have to maneuver it at all. If you do, you just need to loosen up, tighten the bottom Allen key, and then this upper one, just tighten it ever so slightly so that it sets right down on top of the rail. So once you have that done, then it's time to set the fence to the rail to be 90 degrees. You could use a square or a triangle, that's big enough to accommodate the gap. You've got about a ½ inch of gap between the bottom of the rail and the top of the MFT to accommodate the thickness of the fence. So unless you have a square that's thick enough to span that gap, it can be kind of difficult to get everything situated just right. So what I did is I actually just have a plywood square that I know is square because I used the 5-cut method. Got it to within 1/1000th of an inch or so, and then I've validated it with an engineer's square. So I know that this angle is 90 degrees. So what I'll do is I'll just set the board up right there and then make sure that there's no movement. Right now there's just a tiny bit of movement. This fence is out by just a little bit. So what I do is I tighten this knob to the fence first and get that good and tight. And there's still a little bit of movement. And then I'll push everything to be perfectly square before I tighten the knob with this little lever on the side. And once I get that done, I'm at perfectly square. There is no movement at all. That's how easy it is. I know sometimes if you tighten this knob, the stop to the MFT first, you sort of lock it in place and then you don't have as much movement with the stop that goes into the fence. So that's what works for me. If there were some slight adjustments, if this were out a little bit, you can loosen the 2 Allen bolts on the top of the protractor head and you can swivel it to get it to be 90 degrees, but I had already done that and I had it pretty close. I mean, I was within just a fraction of a degree off from square, but now I know I'm set, so I can take this away and set up for all my crosscuts. Highly recommend you have something that you know is square. Make your own if you don't have a thick enough triangle or engineer's square to span the gap, and just a piece of plywood is all it takes. And this one, in case anyone's interested, measures 16 1/4 by 16 1/4. So that works for me, and that's how I do it.